Alright guys, it's been a little while since we did an update on our DIY dump trailer. If you want to catch up, you can see the other videos. Placed a link to them right here. This basically was built on a shortened C-channel camper frame. It's got 3,500 pound axles, which I put towards the rear. I had envisioned it being able to carry 2 tons of material. Been working on this project here. Building a new building, and I've really been pushing this thing to the max. We've been hauling loads like this. This is around 3,000 pounds, or I'm sorry, 3 tons, so 6,000 pounds of material. The trailer itself weighs 3,000 pounds empty with the ramps on the side. So definitely pushing what this will do. Hopefully when it gets loaded, they load it towards the front, puts, maybe 1,000 pounds of that onto the tongue at least. But anyway, it's overloaded. So the problem is, we used this old, I think it was like Stay Right Industries. And I think I looked the part number up on this once, and this is an 1,800 PSI pump. So when we have this much material in here, this is what you get. That squeal is your bypass valve, which bypasses the pump and dumps that fluid straight back into the reservoir. So if you stay on that, it's a spring-loaded valve. I've read that most of these are pretty similar, and that the spring pressure is the only difference. They have a seat and a spring, but the problem is once it bypasses like that, it's compressing the spring. It's also wearing out that seat. So it started doing that when I would load it heavy, and now it's got to the point where with even 1,000 pounds in it, it won't dump it by itself. And I've been picking it up with a loader right here. You can see where I've kind of bent the frame. Not that I'm super concerned about that, but basically it needs help. So I looked up the price of replacing that valve. They go for between $50 and $100. There's a couple different styles, all of which will require me to remove this entire pump, break it down, and then replace that thing on the side. So it's a used pump. It's, like I said, it's not working right. I had put a new solenoid on it. It is also set up for remote control, which is right there on the side. But I thought instead I would price out a new pump. And like I said, this one's like 1,800 PSI. So this is a Vivor brand. It is just a coincidence that that's the same brand as that tooth bar I got for the tractor in my subcompact tooth bar video. But this thing comes set up with your wired remote solenoid, a 3/4 horsepower motor, I think it is, something like that, and this big steel tank. It's the same price with a plastic tank, but the plastic tank's a lot smaller. And since I have had problems with this running hot a little bit with the smaller tank, I thought I'd just get the bigger one. Now I may need to set this up differently, because we'll probably have to have the battery going this way and the pump going this way too. Not sure, because this is so much bigger. But it's a nice steel tank. It's got a fill port with a dipstick. It's got fill and drain plugs that I think these are threaded if you want to loop something back into them. It's got a much nicer dump solenoid. It's adjustable for pressure and for it's adjustable for the overload pressure and for the dump pressure. So when your connections are made, your negative is right here, and then your positive will go straight to the solenoid here. So it's easy to wire in. But off Vivor's website, shipped to me, this was $155, which is a lot cheaper. Like Northern Tools, which is where I would normally go for something like this, they're like $300 right now because the prices have gone up. So is the markup on them that high, or is this just a piece of crap? I don't know. Either way, I figured definitely keeping in the spirit of the cheap trailer thing. The spare tire I swapped out for this one. The other one wasn't holding pressure. And I just wanted to show you guys this. These tires, man, they are bad. And when you have 6,000 pounds of gravel in here, your springs are compressed a lot. The tires with 50 PSI in them, which is their Sideball Max, they're squatting. So we're going to be on the hunt for either some 6-lug axles or some 8-lug axles in the future. Just trying to beef this up. I really think this is strong enough that it'll handle it. The other issue I can show you once we raise this is this rear cross member. We braced the front where the cylinder is. We did not brace the rear. And I think you can tell just from this shot, but it's twisting. So we're gonna have to brace it back to one of those other cross members. And that'll be fairly simple, but since we tore down the shop and don't have a welder set up right now, it's just gonna have to wait. It's not really a safety thing at the moment. So anyway, I'm gonna install this. Again, this is what we're doing with our old pump. So let's see what happens with the new one. Maybe it'll be better, maybe it'll do the same thing. There's a lot to hydraulics. Where the cylinder is attached to this bed, the size of the cylinder, how it attaches to that hoist, all that stuff factors into how hard this is to lift. So we're going to try and change the pump, since that is an old pump and it has been getting worse since I've owned it. We'll see what happens. Alright, so we made a little bit of a mess. We got the old pump out. We got the new pump in. As you can see, we kind of had to reconfigure this. The pump is bolted in, but I didn't tighten it down. Those bolts that I have are bottoming out on the pump, so I'll have to put a spacer in and get some shorter bolts. I did not wire in this remote because I can't remember the colors. I'll have to go back and check. Sorry about the music. So our remote's on here. You can hear it's wired up correctly, so we're going to go ahead and fill it up with some hydraulic fluid and we'll give it a shot. Anyway, for now, this should be good enough. I think all my connections are tight, so let's give it a shot here. It's not squealing yet. Ah, there it goes. It's bypassing. So after all that, 3 tons apparently too much just for this cylinder arrangement. There could be air in it though. I've always heard people say you have to like lift and lower them to bleed out the air. Oh, it's going up now. It is going up. That's more than the other one did. We'll try and lift and lower it a couple cycles here. Alright, it's raising. That's more than the other one would do. I think we're definitely going to have to adjust our lower valve to lower a little gentler. I'm going to go ahead and bring the tractor in. We'll see if we can lift it up with the help of the tractor. I lifted it up a little bit with the tractor and it was kind of wanting to take over, and then it kind of stalled again in the middle. It's definitely got more force than my old one did, but I was kind of hoping it would take over faster than that. As you can see, we did dump put that remote down. We did get it dumped. We took off like that whole crown of material that was pushed against the front. It seemed like it was wanting to be able to lift this now. I don't want to dump the whole pile here. I'm not even sure we're going to need the whole pile. I just got extra to put against the forms once they pour. This dump valve it's like a weapon right now. There we go. It's pretty rough. That is adjustable in the controls. So now that we've got that amount of material off, which is probably a little over a ton of the material, so we should have at least 2 tons on here. They were pretty generous. Alright, so we're really easily lifting that now. And then from what I understand from reading online, like the more times you cycle this, the more it works any air bubbles that get in it from opening that system up, so the more reliable it should come up and down. But this is so violent. It's just shoving that fluid out and spilling it on the reservoir and everything, so we're going to break something. So before I mess with this anymore, I'm going to adjust this valve. But as you can see from these pictures, the trailer was dumping beautifully, but I probably should have been more concerned about that cross member because as you can tell, it broke off. So we completely sheared the cross member off the trailer, and then it looks like it actually just broke that piece of steel over on that corner. I think that happened because this end broke and that end didn't, and so that loaded that in torsion and snapped it. But it's definitely showing where our weak spots are on this. So the big problem now is there's nothing I can do about this. I'm gonna have to lift this with the gantry crane, and then once I have the welder hooked back up, I can try and re-weld that cross member. Obviously, we're gonna brace it better. I was a little skeptical of the design of these hinges, but you know, that was part of what came with this dump trailer, so I went with it. But probably not going to get reinstalled the same way. We'll see. I'd really like to rebuild this and get it back on the road. There's a chance that I will fix it up the way it is and resell it. My main use for it was this garage project I had coming up. But it's always nice to have. It's been extremely useful. So anyway, I'm kind of bummed out. I broke that. I found a screw through one of my brand new rear tractor tires I just paid $350 for. And then I had been looking at this earlier because this is loose and the bolt is stripped out. John Deere wants $90 for these 2 parts alone. Nothing at Tractor Supply would fit. And then today, this side broke off down here. So this is just flopping. That lets this flop back into the tire and just stops you dead. So that's how my day's going. I got this crappy ratchet strap on here just to keep that from shifting all the way over into the tire. It's not ideal. And then as you can see, we have a drywall screw, which is the exact same kind the Angry Cement guy was using. So wouldn't like to think that he would put a screw on my tire. Probably just ram one over, but you never know. Anyway, it's a bummer. We're going to try not to let it slow us down. Got too much work to do. So we'll drag the injured trailer out of the way and we'll fix it on another day. So definitely had better days than today. Definitely. See you guys on the next one.